ben Jorein en vandaag ben ik weer terug bij Theo. Voor een wat asymmetrische bob eigenlijk.
Ja.
In een donkerbruine kleur met wat koperen highlights erbij. Ja.
We're going to make an asymmetrical bob, a bit darker of colors because we're going into autumn, winter time, and we're going to make some highlights in it in the copper tones. It's your turn, so you can see how our hair grows out in, I think about 2.5 months or something like that.
3 months.
3 months, yeah. And you can still see the highlights in her hair, so they wonderful lighted up, and still a wonderful bob. Thank you. Hello friends on YouTube, got me a model again. Now you hear what she wants asymmetrical bob, so I'm going to create her that. And we're going to work in autumn winter colors, so give it a real nice warm feeling. Start by applying the protection for cutting. Then wet the hairs to see what the movement of the hairs is. Watch the skull lines, and mostly see when I'm wetting the hair I can already see the laying of the hairs, so you can see the skull under the hair, so that's why I wet it a bit, so you can see the line where I'm going to work in. We want to go in an asymmetrical line, not too short and not with undercut and something like that, just a nice soft flowing bob line, very feminine. So what I'm going to do is watch at the line, know where the line is, part the lines, make sure I get on the skull bone in the center. So here's my skull bone, and I part the hairs aside so I can work in the underlines. It's the first line I'm going to work in. Pin the hairs aside. Need more than one clip so I can see. So now I can work on the underlines. Gonna do this cut with hot razor. Hot razor is of Ergo. Take the hairs down. Now I'm gonna work at the lines of her skull. So I go in the line of the eyebrow bone and I go gently into the back. Take the hairs up in a nice straight line. Bend my fingers again in the line and go to the back. Every time go back on the same line and I lay the hairs in the rounding. So I take the hairs up, bend them with my comb, lay them in the natural fall and turn them into the rounding. So I can create a nice soft falling neckline. Every time bend my fingers in the same line. When I get at the center, I'm gonna work in the line where I'm going to, because that may also be a part of on the longer side. Using all the lines of the skull into this hairstyle. So when I get to the center line, I'm gonna work a little bit more straight in, because there I go to my bob on the other side. Take the hairs up in the opposite line and lay them in the natural rounding. As long as the hair is a little bit wet, I never burn my fingers. Don't lay it on the skin. That's very important because the tool is 190 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, you don't want that on your skin.
No. Create a new line.
turn a bit. Go back to the first line again. Take the hairs up. Bend my fingers, lay the hairs in the rounding. The nice thing of working with this hot tool is you don't have to force anything because it just melts through the hairs. The hairs will certainly stay for a long time in a wonderful condition. Especially in winter time.
That's important.
Yeah. It's the best time for the hairs, winter time.
Really?
Yeah, you don't have UV lights.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Or you had to go on winter sport. And then you go high into the hills and then you have UV lights. Watch how they lay when I lay them to the back. That looks wonderful. Coming to the center again. Start in the center. And when I get in the center, I lay my fingers in the rounding of the lines and I travel in to the center line. So holding a nice line for the bob, knowing where I want to go. And using all the roundings of a beautiful skull. Gently peeling off some hair. Take a new line on it. Go back to the front. Take my first line. Watch at the eyebrow line. Go in and give it that rounding. Take the hairs up in a little bit moon shape. So just shape them in the natural roundings. Watch at the line, go in, gently go down. And holding the line nice and soft, so no hard lines in this hairstyle. The wonderful thing of this hairstyle is it will certainly lay in a natural way, and you don't have to do a lot of it to style the hair. Go over to the front, same time, the same line. See how wonderful, so soft this line is. Coming to the center again. Connecting to the first line. Coming on the center, and then I bend the hairs in to the other side, opposite lines. And create a wonderful fold to the bob line.
Dan zie je misschien minder goed hoe het
Ja, de valling zie je niet meer. Graduate the bob in the opposite lines. I'll show you that also a bit. So take the hairs up, go in, and gently go down. So I create also behind the ear, in this asymmetrical line, first line to the half of the head, to the left side, and then turning it back. So I get a wonderful fall on the hairs. And here will be my bob line. Coming to the last line on top. Work in the natural folds of the hair. So don't force the base lines. work at the natural parting lines. So take that also with it. Take the hairs to the front. Make sure I get the same line. Go in. And by leaving this length a little bit longer, I get a nicer fall to the hairs. Gives more volume, but also more rounding. Again, I work till I get to the center line. Go over the same line once again. Comb the hairs always in a natural fall. And coming in the center again. Twist the hairs over. Using the roundings, coming over the center line, twist to the center and connect to the baseline of the bob on the longer side. And again, sculpting the lines into the most wonderful fall. I never would do this with a hot knife because then I would hurt her, and I don't want to hurt. So now I'm on the center of the skull, and I'm gonna create a new line on it. Go to the center of the skull. Lay the hairs in the natural roundings. And take this line to behind the ears. Pin the rest to the front. So I'm certain that I have the most wonderful fall on the hairs and the most natural fall. You can see this. It lays wonderful over roundings of the skull. Wet it a bit. Now I start at the bob side. Bend the hairs in. Know which length I want to get to the bob. And see how I comb the hairs into the natural fall. So I turn in and lay them the way I want them to lay. Coming in the center line, just get straight down. Turn it so I can reach the spots. And see how wonderful this falls. The bob, quite a straight line. Pin the upper hair side. Wet the hairs. Take my hot tool again. Connect to the back. And while I get to the front, take the hairs in the line of cutting and lay them in the line of the chin line. Go over the same line, only correcting the line. First baseline. take about 2 centimeters hair on it. It's almost an inch. Lay the hairs in the fall and take away the underparts. Washing through the hairs on the line of cutting. So just let them slip, then I go cutting, so I get a nice soft line and continue in the line of softness. What I did is in underlines I created a line to the center, because mostly the hairs here are longer than the hairs on top. When I lay on top, I can lay the hairs to the front, but in the underlines I lay them to the center line, so they never stick out when I'm ready with the cut. Take only the tip and soften the line. Take about 2 centimeters more. Iedereen kan het, hè?
Zullen we mensen thuis gaan proberen?
Ja, denk ik wel. Dat zullen er best wel bij zijn, denk ik.
Ja, wie weet.
Ja.
En zo handig ben ik zelf niet.
Nee, ja, maar je moet ook niet op jezelf doen.
Nee, dat sowieso niet.
Lay the hairs on the line of cutting. Go in. And soften the lines. Come to the last part. And the wonderful thing of this tool is that the hairs will be sealed for more than 4 months. So you should never get split ends in that period. Watch it align, minor corrections. Knowing that it is a soft line, so no hard lines in this. So now I have a wonderful bob line. So I only have to do this and do with a normal razor. You do this afterwards. Mater color. Make the dark reddish copper line color. I put the photo of the colors into the video right now, so you can see the tubes I used. Putting on protection for coloring. Starting on the short side. I can do this totally. Made this color with 3%, that's 10 volume. And I put in step 1 of the glid line to give extra protection to the hairs and extra nursing. I start this way because I want to create the lighter colors on top of this, so I can lay them when I'm ready with this color on the color.
Het is geen stinkverf.
Nee. No, there's no ammonia coming up from this color, so that's why we don't smell anything of it. Work my way till I get on the line of the holy bone. And first color in this line, what I told you already. Then I switch a part of this color into other bowl and apply some natural color dark in it, so I get even darker on the lines. An extra bowl, I apply a little bit of the color I used on top and put in a 0, so I create a darker color. mix this into each other. Start applying this in the underlines. So from the holy bone, over the skull bone, into the neckline. This will give an ultra deep effect on it. If I put this on, I can lay the color back. Show you this also, so watch your way you turn.
Yes.
So I started on the sides, lay the hairs and the color on the line of parting. This is the red line. Make sure everywhere is the color. And this is a real dark color. Then I go back to my first line, I lay it on this. So only in the underlines I have an ultra deep effect. Come both lines into each other. Making sure there is a nice overflow into the colors. Then I'll go back to the upper lines. And I went to the half of the head. Only in the underlines. I would on it, so I have all the colors on it, so you can see this. Now I lay all the hairs back like this. Take a plastic foil, lay it on the hairs. Take a small amount of color, lay it on the first part of the hairs. So I'm certain that I have a nice connection to both colors. Then I created also a nice copper tone. So I'm gonna see which bites I'm gonna use. This bites I lay on the foil. And this is just extra effects.
Special effects.
Yeah. To make the wow factor.
Exactly.
This color I made with 6%, that's 20 volume. Put also in step 1 of the glint protection line. And this I leave on the plastic foil, of course. Put this together. And then I start on the other colors again. First part, I soften. En dan kan ik all the colors back. Trucendoos.
Mooie creatie.
Ja, dat is mooi,
zeg
hè?
het wel.
Serieus meisje.
Ja, weet je wel.
Lay cartwig on the overflow of both colors. And then take the hairs over. And color in the rest of her hair. Now, I went till behind the ear. Now I take my darker color again, just to create that most kinky effect. Leave a part over. I lay aside. And using the darker color in the frame at the front. So you have a deep in look at the color. Go back to my copper color. And lay a small part in the front with an extra copper line. So the contrast between the colors will be wonderful. Now this I cover up, and then I'm going to wait for 25 minutes, rinse it out, and then we're back to show you the end result. Now we go for a cup here of tea, and you just stay there. You're back in less than a second.
Tea break.
Yeah.
Or coffee break.
Coffee break. Whatever. So don't go away. Okay, back from coloring. So now we rinse it out. Putting on the cape again. Still have to get rid of some neck hairs. Put a little bit protection on the skin. Turn them so you can see what I'm taking off. Pull the skin real tight. And gently take off the small hairs that I don't need. In the center she has a nice fall, so I leave a little bit of the fall over. We horen die haartjes soms heel stijf zijn, hè? Heel vaak.
Ja.
So now I have a nice clean neckline. Drying, I use the foam, I use the velvet of Glint. Apply this on the hairs. I start blow drying with a medium lice brush. Starting on the long side, I work my way to the short side. Dit is echt zo'n kapsel dat je daar mee gooien en smijten.
Ja.
Dat is gewoon leuk.
Ja, ik ben steeds echt dol op die kleur. Heel mooi.
Ja, prachtig hè? So far blow drying. Excellent. Now I really love the colors. Look how wonderful it is when you watch through the hairs. And how beautiful the neckline is and the fall of the hairs. Now the only thing I'm going to use on her is a nice oil of Lanza, the golden oil. That's this one. I really love the product. It's more edgy effect to the hairs. Gives also a little bit that wonderful feeling, but also a wonderful smell to the hairs. And a bit of feeling of being on the seaside and let the wind blow through your hair.
In autumn.
In autumn. I was on the seaside in autumn. It was wonderful. Now, I thank her for being my wonderful model. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for the haircut.
You're more than welcome. She will certainly turn around to show you the end result, and we see each other next video. Bye bye. Ja, je mag een rondje maken. Super mooi alsjeblieft.
Ik ben er heel
Dankjewel.
blij mee.
Ja, dankjewel.
Hoi, ik ben Jorein en vandaag ben ik weer terug bij Theo. Voor een wat asymmetrische bob eigenlijk. In een donkerbruine kleur met wat koperen highlights erbij.
We're going to make an asymmetrical bob. A bit darker of colors because we're going into autumn, winter time. And we're going to make some highlights in it in the copper tones. It's your turn, so you can see how her hair grows out in, I think about 2.5 months or something like that.
3 months.
3 months, yeah. And you can still see the highlights in her hair, so they wonderful lighted up. And still a wonderful bob. Dankjewel.